All right, let's do this. This is Luke Eccles from FantasyBroSports coming at you with my wide receiver rankings. Last show it abruptly ended at number 17, Emmanuel Sanders. So we'll kind of get started there today. But, just a little recap. Not much has changed with the rankings. Preseason's starting Thursday, tomorrow, so super excited about that. Once the preseason starts, things start moving rapidly with the rankings and stuff. So, yeah, trying to go through my rankings initially preseason here. And then, once the actual preseason games start, I'm sure we'll circle back around and, revise the rankings where needed. So, with all that, I'm going to get right into my rankings. The rest of the rankings, I guess, I'm going to try to get number 18 through 40 here. So see how I do. So, we left off at Emmanuel Sanders. In case you didn't get the full analysis on Sanders, like I said, Sanders is the 1B, Demaryius Thomas 1A. Expect 75 catches, 7 touchdowns, 1,000 yards from Sanders. We saw Keenum support 2 wide receivers in Minnesota last year, and he's got 2 great wide receivers in Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders. In Denver, they should kind of take the heat off of one another, let both of them be productive this year. So number 18 overall wide receiver, got Stephon Diggs. Seen Diggs just make some awesome plays last year. Cousins doesn't really force the ball as much as Keenum did. I felt like Keenum really likes to push the ball, get the ball to his playmakers, and I saw him last year push the ball a lot to Diggs and Thielen both. Made them both very fantasy relevant. I don't know that Cousins is quite that aggressive with some of his throws, so kind of tempered expectations a little bit with Stephon Diggs. Still think he's a very talented wide receiver. But, they've got Cooks, Dalvin Cook there too. Latavius Murray might, get some touches, and Thielen, and Rudolph's always going to be that big touchdown red zone threat. So, overall, got Stephon Diggs as a number 2 wide receiver at number 18. So number 19 overall, got the man, Larry Fitzgerald. He's just been balling for years and years. Fitzgerald's just tried and true. I mean, thought he'd been over his career, 3 years ago, people were doubting him. 4 years ago, people were doubting him. But he's still plugging away. I mean, was super productive last year, had a great year. Bruce Arians is gone. Carson Palmer's gone. So kind of a new system there in Arizona. I mean, I'm sure Fitzgerald's the number 1 wide receiver, no question about that. But how productive is Arizona's offense going to be? How many touchdown opportunities is Larry Fitzgerald going to get? So 19th overall, still number 1 wide receiver. Probably, low-end number 2 guy on your team. So got number 20th overall, got Alshon Jeffrey. Already in preseason, Alshon Jeffrey is hurt, but, we all know the story with him. When he plays, he's just an asset to your fantasy team, but he's not always on the field. He doesn't play hurt necessarily. He likes to stay healthy. And that's really probably one of the reasons he's so productive when he is out there, because he's healthy, fast. He can trust his body to go up and get that ball from some of the defensive backs. So, Philly's going to have an awesome offense this year. Expect big things out of Jeffries. Just know you're going to have to deal with them every week, kind of being questionable and sitting out a few games this year as usual. So number 20th overall, Alshon Jeffrey. So next up, number 21st overall, got my guy Marquise Goodwin. All in on Goodwin this year. He broke out last year, especially once Jimmy G got on the team. Jimmy G last year was looking for Goodwin in huge passing situations, third down situations. He trusts the guy. Goodwin's a speedster, so he can blow past guys, but he's also really good route runner from what I seen last year. So definitely wouldn't hesitate to reach a little bit for Goodwin, try to get him on my teams this year. So next up, 22 overall, Corey Davis. Corey Davis is everybody's breakout candidate this year. Saw him bust out in the playoffs last year versus New England. He's got a ton of upside with his red zone potential. He's a big dude, can go up and catch that ball over any defensive back, more or less. Just with Tennessee and the new schemes there, you got to trust Mariota and, his talent, I guess. But Corey Davis, top draft pick, should be a stud. Just what's his opportunities going to be like this year. But he's a lot of people's breakout candidate. I got him number 22 overall, so he's number 2, low-end number 2 wide receiver on your team, Corey Davis. So number 23 overall, Robert Woods. Really liked what Woods did last year. I mean, he was many people's DraftKings stud. I know he won me a couple weeks in DraftKings, just plugging him in lineups, low-owned guy, and then just went off for tons of yards and touchdowns. So, I know St. Louis Rams like Woods and what he brought to the table last year. A lot of mouths to feed in that offense, so kind of temper your expectations with Robert Woods. He's going to be that low-end number 2 wide receiver, high-end third wide receiver flex guy. But, he's going to have those big breakout games for you that's going to win you week. So number 23 overall, got Robert Woods. So next up, 24 overall, got Allen Robinson, Bears number 1 wide receiver. I think he's going to bounce back. I think he's going to be really good for the Bears. We haven't seen a wide receiver this talented running for the Bears since Brandon Marshall. And we got Alshon Jeffrey too, but I compare Allen Robinson a little more with Brandon Marshall, I guess. Big body guy, can go up and get in the end zone. So I think Allen Robinson's going to bring to the table exactly what the Bears want. Just how much of the opportunities is he going to get? I think that offense is going to try to control the ball, let their defense, hammer away, and try to win football games. I think they should have a good year, have a lot of confidence in the Bears. Just kind of tempering expectations on Robinson. Don't think the Bears are going to get into too many shootouts if they can avoid it. So number 24 overall, Allen Robinson. So got number 25 overall, complete upside guy, Will Fuller. Like I said, with Deshaun Watkins, he was just unbelievable. Tons of touchdowns. He had like 8 touchdowns in 4 games, I think. So his upside with Deshaun Watson is just off the charts. I would take a shot on Will Fuller this year with the fact that Watson stays healthy all year, plus being opposite of DeAndre Hopkins. Will Fuller's going to get single coverage. He's a deep threat, with Deshaun Watson's threat to run and look downfield. Fuller gets away from those DBs and Watson hits him for a huge bomb. Huge play for your fantasy team. Can win you weeks. So going to buy into Will Fuller this year. Got him number 25th overall wide receiver. So next up, Jarvis Landry. Got Jarvis Landry as the 26th overall wide receiver. He should be in line for a decent workload with Cleveland. We've seen him get 100 catches or close to 100 catches the last few seasons. Cleveland's got a lot of options. They've got good tight end and Njoku that kind of runs those shorter routes. Jarvis Landry does. I think maybe around 75 catches is probably doable for Landry. Maybe he runs a little more deep routes. We've seen him run the short intermediate routes in Miami. Maybe the structure of his routes change. Maybe he gets down the field more. Maybe his upside is a little more touchdowns and not the big catches this year. So number 26 overall got Jarvis Landry. Number 27 overall got Golden Tate. Golden Tate has kind of been up and down throughout his career. He's been a consistent wide receiver when you look at his end of the year numbers, but from game to game, he's going to give you 10 catches for 90 yards and a touchdown one game, and then 2 catches for 30 yards the next game. So, at the end of the year, it looks like he's got good numbers, but, to have full confidence, putting him in your lineup every week is going to be tough to do. I got him as my 27th overall wide receiver. That's probably number 3 flex guy. I think Galladay probably take a little work away this year. Looking at him as one of my breakout candidates. So, Golden Tate, solid wide receiver, probably better football player than he is a fantasy player. Like watching that guy score TDs, though. Usually he does a flip to get in the end zone or, diving into the end zone, making things look pretty cool. So definitely a fan of him. Got him number 27 overall. So number 28 overall got Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks went to the Los Angeles Rams this year. He's going to kind of be the new guy on the team. Not really sure what his role is going to play, and I think the Rams like it that way. Sean McVay, kind of the offensive mind, likes to keep people on their toes, similar to Belichick or Sean Payton, those type of guys. So, hard to envision really how good Brandon Cooks is going to be, what his role in that offense is going to be. Talented guy with all those stud wide receivers, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, got Todd Gurley in the backfield. He's going to get open. He's going to get single covered. He's going to get open. So if you want to buy in for Brandon Cooks, I got him number 28 overall. So number 29 overall, Sterling Shepard. We've seen flashes of Sterling Shepard in the past. Don't think he's ever going to be a number 1 wide receiver. Littler guy, probably doesn't handle the double coverage as well. But, with ODB back, Evan Ingram taking the middle of the field, and then Saquon Barkley in the backfield, Sterling Shepard's going to be able to get open a lot. I think he's going to have a pretty big year. If everybody's expecting what they're expecting out of the New York Giants, expect a lot from Sterling Shepard. So I got him number 29 overall. So number 30 overall wide receiver, I've got Nelson Aguilera. Nelson Aguilera's first couple years in the league was really, really inconsistent, and then he definitely broke out last year. Philly overall broke out last year, but Aguilar was a big part in that. He was really solid when the plays broke down. It looked like both Wentz and then Foles, once Foles got in the game, both those guys, once the plays broke down, really looked to Aguilar to make a play. So in the NFL today, that's always the guy you want on your team. They go to him on third down. They trust him a lot with the, Alshon Jeffries. He's the clear number 1, but, he's kind of in and out of games sometimes. So it's, Aguilar, definitely would like to have him on my team this year. Got him as the 30th overall wide receiver. So number 31st overall wide receiver, got Marvin Jones. Marvin Jones had big touchdown numbers last year, so kind of expecting for those touchdown numbers to regress a little bit, maybe down to 6 touchdowns or so. And then, Kenny Galladay, he was a rookie last year. He flashed, for a couple games last year, looking to him to have a breakout this year. So he's a big guy, probably red zone threat. So he might take a few of those touchdowns away from Marvin Jones. Got Marvin Jones 31st overall. Next up, 32 overall. This guy's getting a ton of hype. probably duly noted with his rookie year he had last year. Juju Smith-Schuster, awesome guy to follow on Twitter, a big personality in Pittsburgh, made some huge plays last year in huge games. Just a lot of mouths to feed there in Pittsburgh, kind of new offense. Not really sure what position Juju Smith-Schuster's going to play, if he's going to play that outside wide receiver opposite of Antonio Brown, or if he's going to play the slot receiver. So, that's probably going to determine his snap count as well. So still a lot of questions out on him. Big talent. Got Juju Smith-Schuster 32nd overall in my rankings. So number 33 in my rankings is Chris Hogan. With Chris Hogan, I feel like the key is just health. If he stays healthy and on the field, he's going to be productive. The first 4 games, Julian Edelman suspended. I'm sure Hogan's going to be a vocal part of the offense those 4 weeks when Edelman's suspended, but I don't see his ceiling being that much different when Edelman's back in there. I mean, if anything, Edelman's going to take a little bit of the pressure away from Hogan. So expecting big things out of Chris Hogan this year. Like I said, key is health, but he should be, one of the best low end number 2, number 3 wide receivers you could have on your team this year. So number 34 overall, I got Michael Crabtree. Michael Crabtree moved to the Baltimore Ravens this year. So he's on a new team, but he's used to that. He's played on several teams throughout his career. He's always been a red zone threat. So we'll see what happens in Baltimore. Baltimore had one of the worst, or not the worst, passing offense last year. So they could use a guy like Crabtree, but can Flacco get him the ball? I don't know. From what I've seen of Joe Flacco in the past, he's sometimes inconsistent in the red zone. So, and that's where Crabtree shines. So can those guys hook up? Yet to be seen. But got Michael Crabtree 34 in my rankings. So number 35 overall in my rankings, kind of a little bit of a breakout candidate here for me, D.D. Westbrook. Jacksonville Jaguars were kind of the breakout team last year. Last year, they had Allen Hurns and Allen Robinson both on their team. Allen Robinson and Allen Hurns both kind of got hurt last year. So, they had a few guys step up along the way. Jacksonville Jaguars had a few guys step up along the way. Marquise Lee stepped up, Keenan Cole, and also D.D. Westbrook stepped up. I just like Westbrook's upside. I mean, I think Jacksonville Jaguars will still look to run with Fournette and Yeldon in that running game that they have. But we've seen them last year. That running game opened up the play action for Bortles, and Bortles was able to hit his wide receivers down the field. So expecting big things from DD. Could definitely see some big plays from him this year. So got DD Westbrook 35th overall in my rankings. Next up, 36th overall in my rankings, got Jordy Nelson. Last year, Jordy was, top first-round pick, top 12 pick. This year, got him ranked 36th in my rankings. He didn't get hurt last year. He was healthy all year, just kind of, Aaron Rodgers got hurt last year, and Jordy Nelson wasn't quite as effective as when Aaron Rodgers was in there, which makes complete sense because Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the league. So, now Jordy Nelson moves teams to the Oakland Raiders, got Derek Carr as his quarterback. I mean, Derek Carr is no slouch. He's not Aaron Rodgers, but he's no slouch. So we've seen him have MVP-type years. I still think Jordy can get open. He's not going to be the number 1 target on the Raiders team this year. Amari Cooper is. So you would think that Jordy Nelson's going to get single coverage. I'm taking Jordy versus, the number 2 cornerback on any team I'm taking Jordy. So number 36 overall, got Jordy Nelson. So number 37 overall, got Cooper Kupp. We talked a lot about the LA Rams wide receivers. I think they all got a ton of talent. Just a lot of mouths to feed there. You're going to see Cooper Kupp have some really good games. You're going to see Robert Woods have some good games. You're going to see Brandon Cooks have some good games. The couple consistent factors in the Rams offense, probably going to be Goff and Gurley. But, Cooper Kupp, we've seen him last year in some really big spots. The Rams trust him in third down situations, in red zone situations, in the playoffs even, had some huge plays. So they like and trust Cooper Kupp a lot. Kind of surprised me last year, was expecting him to be more of a possession receiver, Wes Welker, Julian Edelman type, and that's not really how the LA Rams used him. They used him a little bit more as a downfield threat. So yeah, that's Sean McVay's offense. He keeps the other teams guessing. So, like Kupp's talent, he could be a breakout candidate this year. Lot of mouths to feed on that offense. Got him 37 overall wide receiver. So number 38 overall wide receiver, got Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson should be number one target on the New York Jets offense. He's going to get to see Miami twice a year. He's going to get to see Buffalo twice a year. So that's already a plus right there. Not really sure who his quarterback's going to be this year. Josh McCown, the veteran, is there for New York Jets, but they also drafted Sam Darnold, and reports out of camp have been pretty positive for Darnold. So be anxious to see who starts for the New York Jets. Right now I would have to say I'm higher on Robbie Anderson if Josh McCown starts, but we haven't seen Darnold play in the NFL. So, Robbie Anderson's probably going to be productive. Number 3 flex wide receiver who's ever at quarterback. So number 38 overall, Robbie Anderson. So number 39 overall, Sammy Watkins. Sammy Watkins has a ton of talent. See how much upside he has on a Kansas City Chiefs offense in his first year. We've seen him be pretty decent last year when he was playing with the LA Rams. Now he's with the new team. Andy Reid always has one of the best offenses in the league. We got Pat Mahomes there as the quarterback, first-year quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, taking the reins. Kind of reports out of camp on Mahomes have been up and down. I haven't really heard too much about Sammy Watkins, but he's a ton of talent. I could see bizarro world scenario where Sammy Watkins has 10 touchdowns this year and maybe 900 yards. So that's definitely a productive fantasy wide receiver. So right now I got Sammy Watkins at 39 overall. So number 40 overall, my guy, Pierre Garçon, old Frenchie, had him on a lot of fantasy teams. He's just been a reliable target for who's ever throwing him the ball. Been on some really good Peyton Manning teams and just kind of moved around from Washington, got some Kirk Cousins action there, and then now come to San Francisco 49ers. Saw him last year kind of with 49ers, wrath of quarterbacks early in the year. And then when Jimmy G got there, Garçon got hurt right before Jimmy G got in the action. So haven't really seen those two hooked up, but, Garçon's been a reliable target throughout his career, no matter what QB's been throwing him the ball. So, he likes to run the quick slants. He likes to run across the middle and get those passes. Could see, how much Pierre Garçon has left in the tank, but could definitely see him being a productive fantasy wide receiver this year. That's why I got him at number 40 overall. So right there, I'm going to kind of hold up on the rest of the wide receiver rankings. Probably going to move to the tight end rankings for my next show, but definitely appreciate everybody listening to the Fantasy Bro Sports podcast and YouTube videos. If you haven't found out, we got a podcast now on Spotify and other media outlets. Another just way to get the Fantasy Bro Sports content. Also follow us on Twitter at bro_fantasy, and then we got a Facebook page, Fantasy Bro Sports. So with that, I'm going to leave you all. Thanks for listening, and have a wonderful day.